Wow, that light always wakes me up in the morning. It's the circadian rhythm clock. So, always start my day with my two key mantras, which are, I'm glad I'm here, I'm glad you're here, and together we can do great things. And every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. So really important mantras for me. Then the next piece for me when I start the day is to think about the idea of being able to look myself in the eye and just to spend a bit of time smiling with myself. And the idea of looking in the mirror and smiling at myself, just to that idea of great life's about being at ease with myself. You know, my father-in-law always used to speak about that. As long as you're at ease with yourself, you can go and do great things. So to look in the mirror and spend some time smiling, fantastic. Then, as I come out, I've got to make my bed. And this bed's a really simple bed to make. It's a really simple bed to make, and then I open up my window. Open up the door to get ready to actually start a process that I call my 5 by 8. And it's a process that a great client of mine, a great friend of mine, Tony Martin, introduced me to, which is all about 5 things by 8 o'clock in the morning. 5 key things to do by 8 o'clock in the morning. It's still pretty dark outside. In the summer, obviously, there's a bit of light in the air when I get up at 4:45, but by this time, it's still pretty dark. So, let's go and have a look at the 5 by 8. The first part of the 5 by 8 is all about meditation. So, I've done a couple of different meditations over time. One of the things that I've really noticed is, for me as someone who meditates, so I see people do different types. So my great friend Martin Garvey in Ireland does transcendental meditation. He really loves TM and it works for him. I'm a guy who needs a bit more structure. So I typically do I've used Headspace in the past, but at the moment I'm experimenting with Calm. And I really like it as a great way to start the day. I spend 10 minutes in this meditative space. Start with a check-in. How am I feeling today? I'm excited.
Welcome to the Daily Calm. I'm Tamara Levitt, and today we'll be practicing a meditation called the breathing space. It's a short and simple practice you can use anytime you feel overwhelmed or stressed and feel the need for a reset. Start by coming into a comfortable seated position with a tall, straight back. Close your eyes and let the hands rest in an easy, effortless way.
I always love starting the day with Calm. I love Tamara Levitt's voice as a way just to center around the morning. So that's the first part of my 5x8, which is something mindful. And so I'll include this link in the notes to where you can find the app Calm if you're interested in exploring meditation. I'm a real structure guy, so I love the structure that apps like Calm or Headspace provide. So I've done both at different times. I'm just in a loop with Calm at the moment. The next piece is something I've done for a really long time that's also part of the mindfulness piece. It's about asking myself, how am I going to use my strengths today? So for people who've done a lot of work with me, they'll recognise that Gallup Strengths Finder is a real central part around the work that Peter and I do through To Be Limitless and the rest of the fantastic coaches we work with, using Strengths Finder to unleash the real potential in people. So my number one strength is includer. So I think about how I'm going to push the circle wider today, and I suppose this video is a really great example of pushing the circle wider. Maximizer, working with the best, and I'm thinking about today the people in 3 different countries that I'm going to be working with today, which I'm looking forward to. Then my next strength is belief, where I'm thinking about the values I want to bring to today. Values like integrity, do what you say you're going to do. Simplicity, keep the main thing. Humility, first thing to serve. So in that space where, right, I'm connecting with my values. The next one is positivity, bring energy to things. I really want to bring a level of energy to my day. And then the fifth strength is woo, which is about creating a real connection between people. That real, how can I connect with people today? So I'm really looking forward to a day that's started by thinking about my strengths. I think that we can have 2 sorts of days. A day where things happen to us, and then a day where we happen to things. And I think the morning really sets the scene for that. So I'm in that space around, at the moment, something mindful. I've got one more thing to do in my mindfulness piece before I'll get into the mental and grateful part for today. And this ritual, and you won't be able to see it, but I've just got goosebumps all over my arms. I call this my circle of happiness, and I've just stepped into a space. Obviously, one of the challenges of this time is being away from my family. So Sarah, Thomas and Meg are in Australia. So each morning I have this circle of happiness where I just step into a space to spend some time thinking about them. It's really small period of time, but it's a really important period of time because this circle of happiness, I think when we're reactive in the world, we go out into the world and things happen to us, and that's what dictates whether we're happy or not. Whereas I think about being happy proactively. So I've just stepped into a space where I've remembered 3 key memories with Sarah, Tom and Meg, and then a collective memory of us all together. So I start my day happy and go and happen to the world, rather than go out into the world and see if I'm going to be happy or not. So I've just started from a space of feeling that happiness. And it's not pretending to be happy. It's more about remembering the things that make me happy, and then you just flood your body with the chemical that's happiness. And so I'm starting from a really strong space when I'm starting my day happy, and that's how I finish the something mindful part of my 5x8. Now it's time to get into something grateful and something mental. So my grateful, I actually use another app, which is the 5-minute journal, which I love, and my mental is actually it can be anything. It might be a YouTube piece. It might be Audible. Today it is Audible. I'm just going to spend. I'll just spend some time, and different times during the day, just listening to some pieces in Audible. Today I'm listening to Principles by Ray Dalio, which is something that I really love, a book that I really love. So I'm just going to be listening to Ray. I typically listen on the speed, on a different speed. I typically listen at 1.5, so it just speeds up the experience. It doesn't take away from the experience. So whilst I'm listening, I'm also going to do my 5-minute journal, and that gives me a chance to connect with my daily list as well. Yeah, so I love this. Another part of my 5x8 is something that's community driven, and it might be something, and I'll do a couple of pieces of this in the morning. The first one that I've reached out with today comes from my 5-minute journal, and I've just shared the morning inspiration with the 5-minute journal. Wherever you are, be all there. And that's the daily quote from 5-minute journal. I've shared that with a few key leaders in my community, people that I feel like need to hear that message. Really importantly, I've got a new client that I'm starting with today that I really want to hear that message, and the importance of him hearing that message for me are really important. So I'm thinking about a couple of clients who just really want to hear that message this morning, and so I'm just going through and just sharing. So it's something thinking about community, and community is such a big piece for me. I was speaking with James Hamilton yesterday. James runs a podcast called The Captain's Table, along with Big Rex, and he and I were talking about the power of community, and I think the power of community is so much more important at the moment than thinking about your network. I think network can be a really transactional thing. It can be something that you do in exchange for something else, whereas community is always thinking about win-win, and that's a really important concept for me. So I'm just sharing with a few people that I think need to hear that message, the power of community, and I've already seen a couple of things bounce back to me on the basis of that. It's a great way to start. The 5-minute journal I'll put a link to it in the notes. I think a lot of people already know about it. Of course, Audible has really risen in prominence during the COVID lockdown. Something that I really enjoy is, I love the auditory part of learning and having this piece in the background. Some people probably find it a little bit unusual to be listening at 1.5, but I find it really cathartic to do that. I listen to most books at 1.5, depending on the pace of the reader. The Art of Resilience and Green Lights are the last two books I listened to at that speed, and I really enjoyed it. So Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and then The Art of Resilience by Ross Edgley. Great books around principles and systems for life, and of course Principles by Ray Dalio, the Principles for Life and Work, and I'm really enjoying that. So the next piece I'm going to jump into is my 5-minute journal. So I'm going to add today's image. Yeah, I've got a great image here from Paul Allen, who's a key client of mine on Why Purpose Matters, and really love that. And then I'm going to get into the 5-minute journal. 5-minute journal starts with a series of questions. So what am I grateful today? What am I grateful for? Yeah, so I'm going to spend a bit of time doing that whilst I'm listening to Ray and his principles. So in the Something Mental this morning, as you know, I was listening to Ray Dalio, and just there's always diamonds in being prepared to be prepared. So really, I love that Eisenhower quote that plans are useless, planning is essential. And our elite performance coach, David LeBoucher, and David's a massive part of our business. We run a high performance event together. We co-facilitate it in Thailand each year. And the idea of that plans are useless, planning is essential. So that great quote from Eisenhower reminds us of that. So it talks to us about the importance of preparing, and this 5x8 is the way I prepare for the day, and being prepared to just sit in and do my journal, listen to great people like Ray Dalio share ideas. And I love what he said just then. If you work hard, you can achieve almost anything, but you can't achieve everything. So maturity is the ability to let go of a good opportunity so you can go and focus on a better one. And it's really poignant at the moment with Peter and I developing the business, thinking about opportunities in Saudi and all different markets. What's the good that we have to let go of in order to go and be great? So yeah, I'm really interested in that, and there's always gems in that. Time to go and get changed now because the next part of my 5x8 is the something physical part.